and Bernie and all the lads. 1933. And we're live. Well, folks, you have to bear with me for a minute. This is Dr. Jeffrey Lant. I'm looking for the music for today's program. This is Anything Goes. We do it every day. Although some, they don't feel like intelligent for other people. I wish they would be intelligent for me. I wish there was somebody to swap every once in a while. But we got some smart people. Oh well, what a complaint. When you have 40 open fields like I do, get that little spinning thing going all the time. It drives you crazy. All right, Mr. Chris, did you find the beginning of the Lindop portion? And while you're looking, I'm going to open up discussion. This is Dr. Lant. I am the CEO and co-founder of this magnificent place. And we're going to help some selected people who want unlimited lifetime traffic. Chris, I don't know if you've had time up, but we have a new video out under the watch video classification with the best traffic offer we have made in 23 years. I want to have happen today is I want to give it to Cassandra Outlaw. That sounds like wonderful beginning to a relationship. David Arriaga, Gina Simon, Marcel, who's going to be the butt of all jokes today, and Mauro Pazagli, and Dante Hush. And now we have Joseph Balog. Folks, do all of you admit the necessity for traffic? Mr. Chris, I'm sure, is going to have a few prime, till he gets his little notes there in order. He's going to have a few prime comments. We have created the best traffic offer. We released it yesterday. It's going to be good till the 15th of January, which is just a spitting moment from now. You know, and every one of these people whose name I just called has told us that they want traffic. And then they sit there like horseflies, not doing nothing. Now, let folks hear me well. This is Dr. Jeffrey Lant talking to you. I've been an internet, well, let's say, call it, I'm an internet celebrity for the last 23 years. So my colleagues, Andy Hunter, the longest president any internet, Roland Bushkosh, who you all revere, and rightly so, as the traffic master, the fountain of traffic, which I partly stole from the Queen. The fountain of honor became the fountain of traffic. You want traffic, we've got it. You want traffic, we've got that. You want another traffic, we've got that. And if you sit there on your you-know-what, you're going to get what you're getting. Now, absolutely nothing. Chris, you want to beat them up a bit? Pulverize them with the spirit of this program, because we are here to beat you into prosperity. We are going to make you prosperous whether you want it or not.
No, they don't want. They don't want traffic. They just sit there and hope the money's going to fall right in their lap. But we know that doesn't happen, don't we?
There is an island in the South Pacific, and I can't think of it right now, that has, they use rocks for money. And the biggest rocks, they turn them into circles. Probably you saw this. When you're growing up and you're a kid and you're a coin collector, they tell you about these strange places and the strange money. What I like about their money is that it weighs about a ton. And so if they had any money in their laps, they'd be crushed. And that, for me, would be a very happy ending for most of these people who don't have any prosperity anyway, but that's another story. I want to congratulate Patricia for hanging around here and getting us off to a good start. As always, I am the CEO, the co-founder, and the chief engine washer of this place, and I have known worldwide from one end to the other. I'm telling the blunt, honest truth, and you guys can't handle that. You want to pretend that you're doing well. Now, Chris, I want to tell you about this guy named Marcel. Marcel is a joke. He's a certified joke. He's living in Germany. He invited us to come and look at his website today, so we all trekked over to see it. There's nothing there. He said website was incommunicado, down, broken, pieces on the ground. So he said, excuse me, sir, where is this website that you were bragging about? Well, I don't have a website. And I said, what about your traffic? I don't have a I said, do you have any brains? Do you have any brains? Do you have a brain now? I told Marcel that he could post one or two lines because you know what he's going to say. Don't make fun of me. Yep, you're right. We were making fun of you. You know why? Because you're a figure of fun. And that's what we do with figures of fun. We make fun of them. Isn't that logical? Chris, what do you want to say to Chris? Marcel. Chris. He is one of the especially people who are knuckleheads. If you are a knucklehead, you're not going to. It's a knucklehead-free zone. Now, Marcel, would you like to tell us about what a good, and of course he was rich, but he didn't have $99, and he was going to have the best website in the world. I'm a liar. Oh, good. Here we go, everyone. It's time for a food fight. Oh, how I love it. And why is that, Monsieur Marcel? Why am I a liar? Did you have a site? And let me just say a couple of things. Was your site up when you got us over to look at it? You invaded us to look at your site. Was there anything there when we got there? Now remember, I'm a liar. You better tell it the way that happened. Marcel, am I lying? Did you have a site set up? Did you? Oh, it's offline. Never you. So you don't have a site, do you? You have a thought of a site. How about traffic? How much traffic have you been in? You have a lifetime of traffic? I noticed. How many years does it take in, Marcel? How many years is it before you get your hosting? You see, we provide hosting, part of our package. We give it to people like you, to everybody but you. I don't like you, so I'm not sure I'm giving it to you. But aside from that, what else, Marcel? Tell us about your great offer. You got live people at your site? There are no live people because there's no site. Excuse me. You were looking for a site. There was no site. There were no live people. Do you have people closing deals for you, Marcel? Do you have people closing deals for you like we have? No, of course not. People love your site. Yeah, you know why they love it? Because it's offline and they can't see it. And you know what the site turned out to be? It was pornography. Oh my God, Gott, and he's German. Gott in Himmel. Say the 6.
Over 900 members. Whoopee.
Wow. You know, Mac, Marcel, 700 pornographers, huh?
We've got.
It's still in development. Man, you can tell that.
28,000.
Now, Marcel, I want to ask you a question. Would you like to stay stupid, or would you like to evolve into something less stupid? Before I waste any breath on you, I wanted to find out. Do you want to stay stupid, which is clearly the case, or do you want to evolve beyond stupidity? It's something theoretically positive. What do you want, Marcel? And Marcel, when are you going to have $100? Deutschland, über alles. You don't like the way we are very sorry. We were trying to help you, but you were such a prick. Excuse my French. Nobody liked you anymore. So you don't like our pitch. We don't like you. Most people come here are broke. You should know that. I know that you're broke. I don't want to talk about the generality of people. I want to talk about you. Are you broke? Do you have 5 cents? 5 Deutschmarks? You are lazy. You're the lazy. You've been sitting around here for 2 hours picking your nose, man. There's nothing to see for it. Is that the way you do your business? And by the way, as you'll notice, our numbers are, as people choose, wow, Lant's lit today. The old man is lit. Pipe down, people. Don't get a match near me, Marcel. You could go. What have you already learned about Marcel? He's very, very defensive. He's got his facts are he's broke. He has no site, but people love his site. I love your site too, but it's not up. I think yours is the best site I've never seen.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, what do you want to say?
He's got it doesn't work, obviously. He's got 900 members who don't earn any money. And if you say he's not got $99, he's got any chance of getting any money.
Oh no, Marcel is finished.
What you'll get.
This is where Marcel is an internet leader. When he goes down to the Bahnhof for a couple of quick beers, Ich bin ein Internet-Marketeer. Ich bin Internet-Marketeer. Isn't that what you say? Isn't that what you say by the bar? You stand up there and beat your chest and say, Ich bin Internet-Marketeer. Yeah, it's good. It's good for the comedy routines. So Marcel, in my next comedy appearance, I'm going to be quoting you. I'm going to bring you up. In my next comedy, I'm going to say, Hier ist ein Internet-Marketeer. And they're going to look at your scrawny and say, what the hell is this all about? I see troglodytes when better say Marcel. Troglodytes. And not only are you more than lazy, you're slothful. More than slothful, you're completely utterly useless. Well, here it goes. You are 20 years in the market and you still look broke. I look broke? Well, that's the saving it. If that's the case, Marcel, try another punch. Come on. Come on, Marcel, I dare you. Come on, hit back. Oh my God, this is it. Can you see him in a bar? Can you see him in a Bahnhof bar somewhere in Baden-Württemberg late at night? Ich bin Come on, Marcel, come on. You're going to go, she says, well, I prove it, prove any possibility faster than that. Anyone think, what do you think we should do with you, Marcel?
Marcel, you'll never be more successful than Dr. Lant is, as long as you've got the hole in your backside.
I don't want to touch that line. It sounds vaguely pornographic. Well, he is a pornographer, so probably fits. By the way, Marcel, what kind of pornography do you specialize in? This will open up a whole new line of endeavor. Oh, Lant, you must be...
Oh,
come on, Marcel, tell us the truth. Okay, now, allowing for the fact that Marcel is a loser and will always be a loser, he can't even come up with 5 cents in response to accumulated requests. We are here to help people get unlimited lifetime traffic. Who wants it? Is there a person in this room? And what's going to happen is, if you guys don't want traffic, unlimited lifetime traffic, for a pins, we are going to throw you out of here and say, do it your own freaking way. And we are going to have time. You see, there's one thing, and Chris can confirm this, that's never said of us. I need traffic, I need traffic. Chris, have you ever heard that? I have never, in years, 20 years, heard anyone say, you don't give us any traffic. You took my money and didn't give us any traffic. Did you hear that line? You've heard it plenty of times on the net, but never here. Oh.
No.
You don't
need your traffic.
Marcel. Oh my God, Marcel, you are... Marcel, I'm going to tell you one thing. When you're being a little more sensible than you are today, it's probably to say never. I want you to come back and beg my pardon. I want you down on both these saying, we are not worthy, Your Excellency. Will you take me back? Now, I'm not saying I'm going to take you back, but I'm going to give you a good kick in the gluteus maximus. So you ask me to turn that gluteus maximus to me and get the boot kick right back to Stuttgart. All right, George Koch has just posted a new landing page. Never in Marcel's whole life has anyone posted a new landing page for him. Let's all, every member of this community, I want you to list something that Marcel is not getting because he's all arrogant and all by himself. Everybody wants you to list one thing he's not going to get. I'm going to start by saying he won't get me. To have a nudge working for you is priceless. You don't get any nudgery help, and no one's going to help you. You're going to know it all on your own. Chris, anybody else? Let Linda, LZ. Come on, Linda, you owe me for this. Pat, Patrice Porter, Christopher, Stella. What is one thing that we give him that he will never have on his own? Monitors. I'll go for monitors. He's going to have no one to help him close any deals.
Live training.
Instruction. Live training. Mentoring. These are all things. Unlimited lifetime traffic, you won't have that. In other words, Marcel, you've got squat. Now, in 1 minute, I'm going to boot you out of here because, frankly, I wanted to play with, like, the Aztecs did with the head of an enemy. They chop off the head, kicked it around. That's how it started, by the way. Just kicking around some enemy's head. Kick them, Here, Patrice says, get to work with perhaps a very high standard. You never have to do it alone. Well, he will. These are all things that Marcel will get. Marcel, before I kick you into the wherever I'm kicking you, do you have any final thoughts of yourself? Would you be willing to admit that you're a complete doofus? If you come in here and say, I am Marcel, I am a complete doofus, I'll help you. But under no other terms. That's my condition. Whether today or tomorrow you come back, and I know, you see, the thing about Marcel, he will creep back. You all know it, you all landed there, landed there. Listen, I'm wherever you don't dare to look. Marcel, what's your last thought here? Because we're bored with you now. Keep head around the playing fields.
Well, let's get into the live business center and show Lant how to make money.
That's right. Show me how to... Well, listen, if they know I am not so humble... I'm so arrogant that I said, don't. So if you got a way... If Marcel was a decent person, and he had a way of making money... I would be his bosom buddy and pal until I figured out the limitations of the system. Then I'd just drop him like hot plate. Anybody want to say any last words? Marcel is the exact person we went into business to help, but he is not helpable. And consequently, he is going to go in for a very long spate of failure, which is absolutely predictable, in which we started to see when we went to say, Marcel, show us your website. And he did. And there was nothing there. Excuse me, this is called the Emperor's New Website. It's a whole new kind of web hosting. Enough. Okay, Chris.
Website hosted by nobody.
Okay, Marcel, goodbye, good luck, good riddance. And remember, if you come back here, you say, we are not worthy, your excellency. Say something like that. Something that will place you forever. And there he goes. Off he goes into the wild blue yonder. You know what I've discovered throughout the internet is just how scary the thing is. The internet has given legs, so to speak, to people all over the world who should never, they should have been like Ebola, they should have been curtailed in Central Africa. It is absolutely alarming to me. I have never seen stupidity as I see on the internet every single day. Now, I have said for the last 20 years that to go on the internet and to click the on button makes you, lowers your IQ by 50%. Just clicking on that button, and they're stupider than they were 1 second ago. Why is that? Why are there so many stupid people? Franklin Coatsy, he is a stupid. I've known Franklin, I've talked to Franklin, he's been here 128 times. There is not a chance in hell that he's ever going to do anything that's smart. Franklin, I'm pleased, the Harvard-trained sociologist, would you please tell me why you're so stupid? Why do you do the stupid thing over and over and over again? Franklin Coatsy, tell me. Now we have Harvey Williams, who's been here 8 times. Harvey, why don't you join us? Why do you persist in taking course of action which for maximum self-destruction? You know, we used to have a theory called MAD, M-A-D-D, mutually assured destruction. This is worse. This is like unilaterally guaranteed stupidity. We ought to give them a certificate, say, you are found in one greatest man in your neighborhood. And Moro Pagagli, been here 27. What is it? People, I am pleading with you. I will even give you a free copy of my book, Net Profits, which sells for $30 an hour. I will give you a free copy. You'll tell me what makes you so stupid. I want to know. I'm asking in the spirit of science, pray. Chris, look at how many times they've been here. Over and over and over and over and over and over. And nothing comes of it. And yet they think they're in business.
They love our company.
Yeah, but our company doesn't love them. The man is known by the company he keeps. If any of my neighbors saw me hanging around with these blokes, I'd be finished. It'd make me move on to English. They'd say, you've lowered our standards too far, lad. You've tricked us before. Now, call up. I am going to tell us, first of all, I wanted to introduce, I'm sure you remember Brian Armstrong from Days Gone By. He's our newest junior monitor who's in training for a little bit. Probably want to come up with a few. And Brian, did you get your buttons working? Did you get your instructions that I sent you? You know that Brian is a rather irascible old cuss. Everyone remember this is the irascible old cuss Brian. And Brian, I never said this to anyone, but every 20 minutes, whether you like it or not, just smile. Just in case. Calling Brian Armstrong. Are you there, Brian?
Oh, dear.
Okay, let's carry on now. We have Elias, who's now been here 17 times and done nothing. They were a mess in the LBC. It was going to be a mess. So you don't have instructions. But did you get your buttons taken care of? Okay, so you got the buttons taken care of, right? Oh, hold on. Solve this problem.
This could be fun.
Ooh, what, where? You know, I got up this morning just to check my account. That was like...
Dr. Lant, sorting problems out of her.
Well, it's a new day we're on, you know. So don't take that as a plus. I need to do those out of my mind. Sometimes the only way to be in mind around here is to be out of your mind. Okay, Brian, I'm going to try again because it's easier to just give it to you right here and you can copy it off of your end. And if not, Christopher will help. He's a session exceedingly helpful. All right, there you go. Now, Elias, 17 times you've been here. Oh, hardly 26 times. Have you boys learned anything at all? If you have learned anything at all, if you can come back to me with one thing that you learned, I'll give you a free copy of the book. See? I'll take a $30 value and I'll turn them into hermit crabs. And by the way, Chris, I have to tell you this. I added a line about Daniel Fisher in the list song from the Mikado. I'll put him on the list. I'm sure he won't be missed. That song, well, I put Daniel Fisher on in the section you're going to read. I want you to know that. Christopher is going to read you a story now, because it's the only way of soothing me. And Praveen Sagar, you need to click on the green box. That's the video. Praveen, video. Well, Chris, did you find the beginning of this story? It's guaranteed to make you
time, but I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, that's all right. That's legitimate. That's better than the average one, I guess.
Okay. And there he was, Edmund Lindau. History.
Oh, no. You have to go up a paragraph. You need to go up to the top of that paragraph.
Oh, God.
But you're close. For them that don't know it, this is from my memoirs. This is towards the end of chapter 10. Written before very eyes. I've already made one person spit up on her keyboard with today's rendition, so the high standard to McCain. Praveen, you got to click on the green box and watch the video. And I want you to particularly pay attention to the massive traffic part of the offer. Will you do that? Praveen, green box. And Nicolay, here you are again. Nicolay, you've got to click on the green box and watch the video. Folks, if you won't watch the video, we're just going to bounce you off. It'll be a complete waste of our time trying to discuss things with you. You remain pertinaciously illiterate. I cannot insist. He said, I have my Harvard Centers above. In Harvard, they would have beheaded these people. They wouldn't even get down. They just cut off their head and roll them down the street. While you're looking, I'm going to put the music on for the end of this reading. This is Christopher's favorite song. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the ponies. I am the Yankee Doodle boy. He's a Yankee Doodle dandy. Yankee Doodle do or die. A real life nephew of my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's the apple of my eye. Oh, Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride the ponies. I am that Yankee Doodle boy. on the 4th of July. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride those ponies. You know I'm that Yankee Doodle boy. Chris is so immersed in the story, he's forgetting he's supposed to be reading it, not reading it.
I'm trying to find it where you want me to read from. Lots of words here.
An old flag, you're a high-flying flatboard, well, made it way. We're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. You're prolonging agony. Find a place, Chris. Just find it. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Where shall I jump in from? Let's go from here. Max made a shrewd observation. It must have been taken before the commencement of World War I. For after that began, the old gentleman knew no happiness and had so very little to smile. Firing in mayhem's midst in 1916. The picture frame is solid gold, which means you must be careful when you pick it up. That, I think, was a veiled warning to me, if I admit I can be careless in such matters. It gave me this general admonition specifically for me. He cast me a look such as a shrewd schoolmaster give up, hoy, hearing but awkward student. Such looks didn't bother me. If he hadn't felt at home, he wouldn't have been so direct. I, too, you see, have insights and secrets learned and faithfully kept. And so we scrutinize a dazzling object before us, both seeing but very differently perceiving. I saw a brilliant artifact of great provenance, an object of merit, significant value, history, a gauge for the ages, and unequal provenance. In other words, I cast my eye upon a connoisseur's delight, something to be treasured viewed in dead of night as proof that this search at last was successful. Bound by the imperial diadem picked out in emeralds, sapphires, lapis lazuli, and a cascade of brilliance showering the very room with splendid light. Max, however, saw beyond the artifact, whose value he knew well and never forgot, but which paled to insignificance beside the meaning of the rich ensemble in blue box, with satin lining. As pristine a day, the Emperor presented it to one deemed worthy of the honour, and the recognition that accompanied it. That honour, that recognition meant everything, shining brighter than the god of every stone in the crown. Gottlieb unsern Kaiser. Those were not mere words from Max, they were a credo he aimed to live for and sustain, as sacred as life itself. I saw the faraway look in his eyes. I wanted to hand the whole ensemble to him with these words: "For you, pour le mérite," the motto of the Blue Max. But I thought it might have been too much too soon. But do not now, and so, Max, this gift is yours. Pour le mérite. And for all the 1,001 gracious deeds and kind that merit this supreme merit. I am proud to be your friend. God bless you. It It's 3:30 a.m. and the story is formulating itself. It goes like this. University High School, Los Angeles pep rally in 1963 or 1964. My ultra-bright, scrawny, irreverent friend, Steve Taylor, now MD, who had a distinct resemblance to Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat, not just physically either, leaned over to me and said, "Did you know our school song was a tune for the Nazis?" A comment designed to shock. And it did. It was also grossly wrong. He was talking, of course, about Haydn's Kaiser hymn, which had the perhaps unique distinction of two monarchies sharing its melody, if not the same words. Uni High launched in the early 20s, looking for a high-blown anthem suitable for its high-blown dreams and aspirations. Heard the maestro tune and grabbed it. It sounded swell. Now, the emperors of the two great dynasties, Hohenzollern and Habsburg, it was good enough for the red-blooded Americans on Texas Avenue, who started his life as Warren G. Harding High, until his many scandals hit front pages, thereby forcing a prompt rechristening A. Presto. If you don't believe me, take a look at the elaborate grill work around the spacious campus. Harding's initials abound. This most presidential-looking of presidents, with ooh-la-la pro-life, died in office in 1923. Not a moment too soon, either. The grand artistry of iron remained distinctive and too expensive to remove. A bit of history, easily forgotten, easily lost. And there he was, Edmund Lindop, history teacher, much publicized historian, a man who never lost a tree for the forest. I'd like to tell you a little about him and me. The man who was at Uni High, exasperated Mr. Lindop. Thing I probably meant to do. You've got to be a football hero to give the tempo for this vignette. I've selected this gem of a tune written by Al Sherman, Buddy Fields, and Al Lewis in 1933. Perfect song for lusty shower rhapsody. Gotta be a footballer to get along with the beautiful girls. You've got to be a touchdown getter, but if you want to keep pet. I don't know, of course, whether Mr. Lindop knew this tune or not, but I can guess, for he was the very embodiment of rah, 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 with all the necessary tools of his ebullient trade, megaphone, letter sweater, and two-tone buster shoes, you betcha. As such, he believed, not in his precise order, in God, the University of Southern California, his alma mater, the US of A and its broad stripes and bright stars, and history, which would vindicate the great republic, whatever she did, however she did it. Oh yes. And did I say USC? He also believed that high school history must be more than a matter of memorizing dates and oodles of facts good for passing tests, but not good enough for citizens who had the utmost need to understand the big picture, as well as pertinent details of the nation's glories and shames. History, you see, is the essential bridge from what has been to what may be. And to make this constant change understandable and memorable, he turned on his particular genius, turning Ross into spectacle, lights, camera, action, ham-in-chief. His students no longer had to wonder about Richard III and why he needed a call, MGM and get me a quadruped, or why Napoleon seized Europe only to throw it all away through acute megalomania and bad judgment, or what happened in Prague in 1419 and again in 1618 at the celebrated defenestrations. I'm sure you know years later, in 1968, when I was in Prague, The day before the Soviet forces invaded, August the 20th, I stood before the great window of Radny Castle, and the balcony from which Alexander Dubček made his last public appearance before being arrested. I was in love that day with the liberty, equality, and fraternity, which had only one more day of hope remaining. I was just where I wanted to be with the good and industrious people of Prague, civilized, doomed by geography. I knew all these places and what happened because of Edmund Lindop, a dash, colour and penny poured on his petted favourites. The advancement history class at Uni High. Problem was that I wasn't one of them, yet. Just why would shine more light on Lindop and a whole lot more on me? Are you ready? Long before Ferris Bueller and Alex P. Keaton, there was Jeffrey Ladd Lant. I've never told anyone this before, but I am the very embodiment of the question authority movement. Could you have guessed? That is to say, I look at the authority in question, scrutinize it carefully, and then figure out how to get better of this soon-to-be cut down to size poobah. Always achieving, and with suavity to the objective, and never, ever being caught. Innocence being my trade. Starts with Coco's. I've got a little list song. Very likely the most altered tune in history because there are always so many new culprits to put on the list. First appeared in Gilbert and Sullivan the Mikado in 1885. But I became aware of it when my odd couple colleague, Dr. Alicia Percival, my regular date, and not a day under 75, popped into her tiny sitting room in the very best Westminster neighbourhood, twirling a parasol and chirping. Three little mates from school. I was hooked. And my movement, my bliss, a theme song. Here's the tenor serenader. Oh, we'd stop him if we could. And the Swedish organist, I've got him on the list. The people who eat fist and claim it's rather good, they never would be missed. They never would be missed. Then the idiot who praises with enthusiastic tone all centuries but this, and every country but his own. And the lady from New Brighton, who just like a guy, and an absolute monkey with mayhem in his eye. I don't think he'll be missed. I'm sure he'll not be missed. Life's a joke that's just begun, indeed. Oh yes, my sentiments exactly. Which is why I was sitting in Mr. Carlson's regular history class, instead of kissing that certain anatomical portion so often exhibited by Mr. Lindop. See, I was always something of a history prodigy, and it infuriated the great Eddie, as we never ceased to call it, that I wasn't his prodigy, and my system works. I don't mind telling you what you would most assuredly have come to know if you'd known me back then, that I was a phenomenon, which was why I was first selected for the CFS quiz team. Faculty sponsor was one of the most gracious people I ever met. Mrs. Robertson, math teacher. She drove us, wrote questions, groomed and presented us. I remember her with the greatest clarity and gratitude. Having proven myself, I got selected to appear on Scholar Quiz on station KNXT, and at 17, mind, soon became the captain of the team. Thus, from the very first moment, I was a star, generating awe and veneration. Therefore, when the announcer said what was, and I said France, every person in that distinctive audience knew they'd seen, well, the most astonishing thing they'd ever seen. Because the complete question was, what was the first nation to recognize the United States. Single word response, with a single word response, astonished everyone. And so from that moment I was a marked man. The prize Eddie Lindop wanted as his prime student. Of course, I was determined to be difficult. And so I hung out with Mr. Carlson. He was tall, lanky, a UCLA graduate type who majored in physical education and history, and regretted he wasn't a basketball star. He was putty in my hands, and we both knew it. The Los Angeles Herald Examiner History Contest. How sweet it was. Sir, in my day, every year the Hearst newspaper's Los Angeles flagship, the Herald Examiner, held a special United States history contest for all the high school students in the area. Winner getting something like $1,000 in form of a lesser costing treasury bond. The winner's teacher getting cut into for $100 or thereabouts, along with grandiloquent certificates for all, especially the overall winner. There were also obligatory photos and the prospect of a tuna on rye with the editor. It was used to be a journalist past his prime, a man hating high school students who were always lots smarter than he was, with the best colleges and six-figure incomes in their future. One of his petted darlings from the AP history class, be the big cheese, was always Lindop stuff. And to ensure the desired result, he held special classes, so his babies knew exactly what to do and to win. For Eddie, the prize he coveted above all. By now, old Lindop had suborned my father into being his advocate, pointing out how much money he'd saved with all the colleges yet. I was adamant, however, about my position. But the truth is, I was biding my time, letting things mature my way with the occasional push to keep things going in that happy direction. Might happen, I said, but what I did say was that it would be my way. For only one gluteus maximus would be kissed, and of course it would be mine, of course. Now imagine the denouement of this so very satisfying avails. How I beat thousands and thousands of history students, including every AP student in Nuestra Senora La Reina de Los Angeles, which included Eddie Lindop and his brigade of the carefully prepped. The undoubted winner over all lords, the Right Honourable Jeffrey Lant, who came, took the test with insouciance without worry or fanfare, then made sure upon victory that his hair fell down just so that he looked cute as bug in a rug. The kind of friend every parent wishes for their Susie or Sal. Eddie Lindop, of course, reaped rue by the acre. His passion for acquiring me being well and truly known, and now, perhaps too, to the complete Los Angeles area. And me, the ink hardly wet on my victory photos, I graciously accepted a position with great condescension, seated in the first row, where Eddie could never fail to see me. The great trophy he had coveted and lost, Mr. Carlson told me often. Then and later, what Mr. Lindop's candid and private reactions were. They were, I am glad, unprintable. You were what my mother would call a little pest.
No, I was a little pest. I was a major league pest. Pest, quite accurate. Dimensions of pest, not inaccurate. First of all, given the way our school system works, it's almost inconceivable to believe that a man would go out dangling, call my parents and say, but he must go to the AP classes. I mean, AP was like the height of high school. And to me, to go to the AP class in the ordinary way, which I could have done, would have been to give in to Eddie Lindop and his fatuity. Now, Eddie Lindop was many things, but he was a fatuous man. I want to be a football hero, to wheel up with the beautiful girls. I want to be a touchdown go-getter. If I want to get a baby, that was Lindop to the T. The rhythm, of course he knew it. He lived it. And subsequently, it was inconceivable that you would say no to this man. And of course, that was just like putting wrist for my mill. Of course I was going to say no to him. He's being pestiferous. He wanted me to acquire me. I was going to acquire him and his whole apparatus. Yes, an annexation was going to go on, but not the way he thought. So he forced my father. My father is always looking ways to cut costs, ways to cut costs. My father is well known from this book. Paid for what do you think my father paid for my Harvard education? Total amount. I can tell you right now. How much do you think he coughed up?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe 150 to 200,000.
How about 100 smackers? And he complained. All he had to do to put me through Harvard was to pay $100. Now listen, people, that however you slice it, that's a good savings, would you say? He was always looking. He was a good Puritan. I mean, he bitterly resented paying out the $100. I'm sure if he could have gotten away with it, he would pay like $9.95. So this was a big deal. So I win this contest, get $1,000. I remember what happened to the button. I think probably my father got it out of my sock drawer one day. But Eddie Lindop he didn't need the money because he was, well, you'll see why from the last couple of paragraphs of this, so let's bring this thing to a tape. He was a wealthy man. He paid, his books sold over 1 million copies through Scholastic. Scholastic is a big educational press. Scholastic is like the approved views of teachers. If you're a teacher who believes in traditional everything, you go to Scholastic because whatever you think about tradition, they represented tradition and nothing else. But he sold over 1 million copies of books, and a middle school in Illinois was named after him. I mean, he was a big deal. So when he said, I want your son, everyone had to, oh, okay. I said, yeah, when I'm ready, Eddie. And that was about the size of it. Knowing that this man was salivating, and it broke his heart the day that Mr. Carl came to show him the $100 and the letter that he'd gotten. The Hearst papers were good on the things that didn't cost any money. Herald Examiner was the flagship of the Hearst Enterprise in Los Angeles, which was a big deal, but they were not up to the standards of the Los Angeles Times, they fought each other for 100 years. But Hearst was good with the amenities. They would send nice letters to your mother and to your father and to your school principal. And of course, Eddie Lindop had to take his up to see what I got. It came with a bond, a U.S. savings bond. Poor old Eddie. He was, and his comments were, as you can imagine, eye-coloring and stark in the extreme way. Now, Cy Younger, what do you think about that? And Moro Zigli. See, the thing is, the reason why so many of these high school revolutionaries fail is because they're stupid. They wear dreadlocks, they wear pants down to their butt, and they talk in ways you can't understand. And I was so polite, it was nauseating. The tip-off to what degree of politeness I was the word sir. If I said the word sir to you in a certain way, which was mostly any old way, you knew exactly what was coming next. Well, what was the Maximus? You got that? What was it? Look it up in your Latin and anatomical dictionary. What do you mean? What is it? Don't you know? Look it up in the dictionary. What are you? So are you lazy? Gluteus, I began, but I have to do a spell check on it. Well, that's most unfortunate, so you're never going to know. I guess you could go to the internet and type it onto Wikipedia and say, what is a gluteus, what is a maximus? I kind of wrote number, yes, kind of. But there is not a student living who went through high school in any country in this world who will not know what was going on in my mind. They're all going to say, gotta get up. Every student has the desire, the wish, the dream sequence of wanting to take over the school. Did you? I know you did. You're too bright not to. When did you first start your... Or you... Oh, so you were a bit extreme, even for you. But given the fact that you couldn't logically probably burn it down with complete innocence and impunity, what did you do? I mean, you ever feel like... Did you ever sit back and relax and dream just how you would take over the school? I would have my troops coming through devices in the ceiling. I'll give you, for instance, how this works. You got to understand, this is going back to the mid-1960s, and this is before Vietnam. So the world is still somewhat civilized. By 1968, it was completely uncivilized. So anyway, I'm about to flunk Jim. I'm going to flunk his it. And we had as our teacher, the only black teacher at school was the phys ed teacher, and he was a sweetie pie. He went to UCLA. You don't know what UCLA would look is. Oh, I want to be a football. That is UCLA, US at the bottom of the thing. And he was, if he had failed me, I would not have been allowed to graduate with highest honors. So this was a crisis of the first magnitude, because you know how I treated gymnasium. First of all, perspiration makes me vomit. I can't stand the smell of sweat. I am constitutionally averse to sweat. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the smell. I don't like the way it looks. I can't stand it. So if you ever want to get me really grossed out, just sweat in my presence. You could do other things too, but that's pretty much for the most extreme you need to go. So the poor man does not want to flunk the guy who's going to be number one in his class. It causes a political problem. So my father goes into executive. He was always good for that. My mother goes in their white gloves. I'm not to gymnasium, and he meets the black physical education teacher, who was the nicest man, but he was probably 24 years old, but he was outgunned from the beginning. He says, well, Lad, which was my name, that Lad is going to flunk physical education, you know that. And everybody goes, yep, we know. What can he do? So we laid out a extraordinarily sympathetic curriculum, like kick one ball across gymnasium in a week. It was like that. It was like, of course I rebelled. I mean, they were going out of the way to make sure that I didn't flunk physical education, lose my highest honors. That was the kind of student that I was. I was just creating problems with them all the time, and I loved creating problems with them. It kept them on their toes. After all, these were public officials, and they needed to be kept on their toes, right? I mean, they were being paid taxpayer money. At some point, my father must have paid something, although he was a whiz bag and not having to be paid the full rate. To give you an idea of my father at that time, one day he came home from work and he was absolutely petrified. He was in a rage surpassing. He said he was sputtering. He kept saying, memo pads. What's the problem? Well, his boss had decided that he didn't like the color of the memo pads, and so he had 10,000 memo pads thrown into the trash. They were all completely accurate, but he didn't like the color. This is what high-level kids do. And my father, this was like the ultimate challenge to a wasp nature. He got out with his memo pads. He brought my brother and I out, and he said, and huge plastic bags. He said, fill these bags with memo pads, boys, and you'll never want for memo pads. So we're out of trash. Because my father was a paper fanatic. It turns out my father would not allow me when I was growing up to have two sheets of paper. I had to use both sides. I had to write on the back. So my first and second books were written on the back of these memo pads. I wrote because he insisted. And you know what? If I go to my closet over there with my business supplies, there are still probably about 100 memo pads left. But this happened in 1965, and there's still memo pads left. Can you picture this? The man was frugal to an unimaginable degree. So Eddie Lindop dangled the promise of free college courses. But here was the part that he didn't say. I got more advanced placement credits than anyone in my school, finally. But when I went to college, they wouldn't accept 2 years with me. They said, we can't make you a junior on your first day. Excuse me, I'm bringing you all these things from university, high school, and that's high school almost. I have all these certificates and licenses and whatever. He said, well, it doesn't matter. We're not going to. I said, excuse me, you're telling me that I have passed these advanced placement tests in American history, European history, English, and so on, and I'm not getting any credits? Beyond, they said, we're going to give you 1 year. You'll enter as a sophomore. That's not good enough. And my father said, oh, take it. They'll take it all away. he was worried that he would lose a shekel rather than the shekels he was giving up. I said, excuse me, these are my classes. He said, just take the credits. Take the credits. We'll work it out later. Oh. You just don't get this kind of good service anymore in these other people's memoirs. So what struck you as a result of this memoir? Whose side were you on? Mine or the accursed Eddie Lindau?
Oh, of course, I was on yours because I was that rebel.
I was talking about rebellions. Did you look like a rebel or not?
All sorts. Of course.
Yeah, see, I never looked like a rebel. I looked like what I was, a middle-class insurgent. I was always very neat, extremely polite.
I used to do everything I could to make a teacher's life hell.
No, I did that, but I see they knew you were a pest, but they didn't know how to pinpoint me. For example, I'll give you one for instance. One day we were talking in English class about Antony and Cleopatra by Shakespeare, and the teacher was being waxing exotic about the noble love between Mark Antony and Cleopatra, and I just finally I said, excuse me, the woman is a two-timing bitch, pardon my French, who's trying to, Antony is dead, she has to seduce Octavian. Don't you get this? This is the politics of sex. She said, it's not, it's a beautiful love story, one of the great love stories. I said, it is not, it's about meat mongering. She needed a man with an army, and he needed legitimacy in Egypt. And she threw her the Penguin Shakespeare green copy down on the floor. Every time you open your mouth, you make me upset. And the class cheered.
Well, I used to spend almost as much time in detention as I did in class.
Oh, Chris, if I had been there, I could have spared you a lot of grief. The greatest victories of all are attained by those who don't even know you've gotten the victory on them. Just to ride the ponies, I am that Yankee Doodle boy. This is how this section on Edmund Lindau is going to end. With this great song by Kohan.
And if I kept every blackboard I ever had thrown at me, I would have a lorry load.
Okay. I'm going to give you another instance of this, of your failure to grasp the reality. This story is a doozy. And I just happen to have the picture on my desk. You may know that the current governor of California is Jerry Brown. He is Jerry Brown, Jr. This is his father when he was governor of California when I was in high school. The girl in the middle is Darla Jean Banks, who was Mrs. America. And that's me. Looking exactly like I look, the revolution from the right. It so happened that gym was not the only class I was deficient in. You had passed driver's ed an A, or somehow diminish your average somehow. The driver's ed teacher was the most vicious man I ever met in my life, but he was an egomaniac, which was extremely low. So I point out to him, by my researches, that he could go to Sacramento on the school if he would introduce me into this program that they had in the California State Senate. Now, if you've never seen the California State Senate, it is gorgeous. It is all gold money. It's all around you. It's a palace. So the governor sees me, and I give him a copy of my legislation that I was introducing, which was about teenage licensing, whether to give licenses to 16-year-olds. And of course, I voted yes. Well, the teacher is ecstatic. Nobody had ever talked to him. Everyone said, hey, he was a mean person, which he was. He was a behemoth. He was a nasty piece of work. But not to me. I said, sir, now to keep you right there, something's going to happen. Sir, if you come up to Sacramento with me, you can meet the governor too, and put in the papers as a really as the best driver's ed teacher in the whole world, sir. He's rather like his aboriginal brain cells are going slowly. At the beginning, he's driving to grasp the concept. You mean I drive you to up to Sacramento? I get to see the governor, get my picture of the paper, and I get a stipend? You're on, Lant. So he comes up to Sacramento, and by the time he gets back, it's the front page of this old newspaper. Driver's ed teacher, whatever his name was, Jeffrey Lant, meet the governor. I had an A. There were 3 A's in this class that year, and I never had a driver's license in my life till I was almost 60. You see, there's always a fiddle. And what an hour it's been, too, Mr. Chris. What an hour it's been. Any last thoughts for the folks?
Oh, gosh, I got lots of thoughts, but I'll save them for another day.
I tell you, want to be amused in your old age, write your autobiography and enjoy the ride. It's incredible how much of this stuff flows through.
Yeah, I keep thinking about things I used to do years and years ago, and they're coming back clearer than when I used to do them.
Exactly. The human brain is the most remarkable thing. The human memory is incredible. Set the problem before you go to bed, and you'll wake up with a solution.
I can't
yesterday isn't important. The day before yesterday is.
Never mind.
Well, we've enjoyed having Christopher Dennis up here. He's learned a thing or two about being a real revolutionary, not one that upsets teachers, one that insubordinates them and grabs them.
Okay. Well,
we're coming over, and it won't come back till it's over there.
Cornwall, the capital of the UK. Yes, goodbye for now, and I'll be leaving in the very capable hands of Tannick, Senior Connoisseur at Worldprofit.
There's some strumming everywhere.